clearly?
I can see that clearly, yes, Ger.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So you're all very welcome. My name is Gerard Gallagher. I'm a disability advisor here at Maynooth University Access Programme. And alongside me today, we have Bridget Gormley, who is a disability advisor, and Fabian Mackin, one of our fourth year law students. So you'll hear from myself and Bridget throughout the course of the presentation, and then we'll hand over to Fabian, who will tell you a little bit about his experience as a fourth year law student and also as a MAP ambassador with the Access Office. So first of all, I just want to welcome you to Maynooth University's Launchpad orientation programme. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you, and it's quite an unusual experience. I feel like I'm broadcasting to an empty room, but it is fantastic to be able to talk to you all today and to see, I think, that the real value in Microsoft Teams as well, because even though it's a new experience for us to be running our orientation program remotely, I think what the last sort of 6 months has shown us is what's possible in terms of in education. So even though it's an unusual time and a little bit of an uncertain time to be starting, there's a lot of support out there. And there's a lot of technology that will really help you make the most of your student experience. So to begin with, I wanted to just mention the types of students registered with the Disability Office here at Maynooth University. And I suppose, first of all, I wanted to reassure you about the service here. So the Access Programme in Maynooth University was established in 1998, and since that time, over that 21-year period, we have really established ourselves as a centre of national excellence when it comes to high quality post-entry support for students with disabilities and also students from other underrepresented groups, students who might be the first in their family to go to college, members of the traveller community, all sorts of a range of students from a range of different backgrounds. And it's really fantastic to be able to welcome our first year 2020 and 2021 students here today. So to talk specifically about students with disabilities, Maynooth University supports students from 11 different disability categories. Many of them are listed there. This overview gives you kind of just a snapshot of the types of disability that students can register with, and you'll see a large number of students are registered with specific learning difficulties, so dyslexia. So students might be registered with ongoing illnesses, the likes of type 1 diabetes, maybe cancer survivors, other ongoing conditions that they require support with. Other students might be registered with a neurological condition or a physical disability, and the large cohort of students are actually now registered with mental health conditions, and we have a unique programme to support students with mental health conditions here in Maynooth. It's one of our flagship events and our flagship programmes, I should say, and Bridget will talk to you about that in a little bit more detail later in the session. So we also support students who are deaf or hard of hearing. We support students with dyspraxia. We support students who are blind or who have low vision. We support students on the autistic spectrum or with an Asperger's syndrome diagnosis, and we support students with ADD. In addition to that, we also support students with speech, language and communication disabilities. And I think it's important to mention that students with disabilities make up 6.5% of the total MU student population. So I think that's a very important statistic for you to be aware of, because it really demonstrates the diversity of the Maynooth University campus from a student point of view, and also demonstrates how students with disabilities can succeed, particularly when it comes to studying at Maynooth University. And I suppose just by way of national average, that figure would be slightly above the national average of students with disabilities at a national level, which is somewhere in the region of 4.5 or 5%. And I suppose we've prided ourselves on developing very inclusive and enabling supports for students, regardless of their what their particular challenge might be, and we'll talk to you a little bit about those further along in today's presentation. Just important to mention that we have a chat function at the side of the presentation. If you haven't seen it, you can throw your questions into the chat and we will cover them later in the presentation as well. They might be covered in a video we're going to show a little bit later, or Bridget will address them later on as well. So also important to mention that 19% of students who register with the Disability Office register with an additional disability or condition. So while you might come in with one condition, later subsequently in your degree, you might also register for an additional range of supports. So important to know that you can register with the Disability Office at any time during your degree. So just really important to remember that. So pathways to Maynooth University then. So students come to the university from a range of different pathways, and specifically when considering providing supports for students with disabilities, it's really important for you to know that it doesn't matter what pathway you've come from. Once you provide documentation to avail of accommodations from the Disability Office, we will provide supports for you, and we provide supports that are enabling, that will support you in your studies, but our real emphasis is to support you to progress in your studies, develop key skills, not just for study, but also for success afterwards. Because one of the big successes for Bridget and myself and the other members of the team is on graduation, when somebody rings us up and says, I got my first job, let me buy you a coffee. That's a really important day for us. And when you're studying with us here in the university, we want to equip you with those key skills from the beginning of your educational journey for your successful progression into employment, and in some cases further study. So just to give you an idea where some students have come from, some of you will have ticked the disability box and on the CAO application. Others will have come through the CAO and also an additional entry route, the disability access route to education there. Some of you might also have come through CAO with DARE and HERE, so you might have also entered the university through the higher education access route. Some students might be coming back to university as a mature student and might have acquired a disability throughout their life, or potentially might have had a disability all of their life, and now going back as a mature student, they're in a better position to succeed in college. Some students will have taken the very sensible decision of doing a FETAC or a QQI course for a year and then come to the university. And it's really interesting with this cohort of students over the years. Bridget and myself have seen that often students who do a FETAC or a QQI course for a year come to the university with very, very strong independent study skills that really make for a very smooth transition to education. Some students enter the university through postgraduate studies or international, and it's important to note at this point that you can register with the Disability Office at any time through your academic journey, and we would refer to that in the office as a post-entry disclosure. So you can register with us whenever you need to register with us here in the Disability Office. It's important for you to know that if you have ticked the disability box on the CAO, or if you've come through DARE, or indicated you have a disability as part of your postgrad application, we will have written to you in recent weeks about the process of registering with the Disability Office. So we would have written to you using the email address you used for your CAO application, because that's the email address we were provided for you. So if you go back to your emails, that email, there will be an email there from one of your disability advisors. So from myself, from Bridget, from Aoife, from Kiva or Nicole, talking to you about the process of registering with the Disability Office. So go back to that CAO email and you can get the links on how to register. Students can register with the Disability Office, as we say, at any point in their academic journey, and it's really important that you know that. It's really important also that you know, in order to register with us, there are two key dates that are immovable for us. So that is the first Friday in November, in order to avail of examination accommodations in the January exams, and the first Friday in March to register with the Disability Office for the May exams. Bridget will talk about that in a little bit more detail later. She will mention it again, I'm sure. And the other thing to say is that exams may well be a combination of online or in-class exams, depending on how things are at the particular time of year. So, you know, the university will communicate with you in due course about how all of that will operate. So just to cover the first steps as part of your registration with the Disability Office, the first thing you will have done is you will have accepted your offer at Maynooth University, and a very warm congratulations to you in accepting your offer at a very uncertain time. It's really fantastic that you've decided to progress with your studies, and we are delighted to have the opportunity to work with you. Then you will complete what's known as the online application form to avail of accommodations with the Disability Office. So that is on our website, and it would also be in the email that we've sent to you as part of your disclosure on CAO, DARE or PAC. Then you will book what's known as an online needs assessment to register to determine what supports you need to avail of when availing of disability supports at Maynooth University. The needs assessment is a very relaxed conversation, and Bridget will talk to you in a bit more detail about what that involves in a couple of moments' time. Next, you will attend, and you're attending today, the Launchpad Online orientation. And this is a fantastic opportunity, I think, for you to get a feel for the university supports. And it's really important to know that if you have any questions or any concerns, there is a designated student help desk to help you if you have any questions or concerns over the next couple of weeks. And that email, I think Fabian was going to put in the announcement section of this talk, and the student help at mu.ie. Following on from Launchpad, in a couple of weeks' time, once many of the needs assessments are complete, we will email you with the coordination of your supports, basically summarising the supports and the accommodations in place for you. And Bridget will mention when she's talking to you about how you can view those supports on our student web. So Bridget, I will hand over to you to talk about the factors informing the needs assessment.
Thanks so much, Gerard. So everyone, Gerard has talked a little bit there about how students come to us through different routes. And with the Disability Office, what route you came from doesn't matter to us. Everyone gets the same supports. So if you came through the mature entry route and you have a disability, you register with us and you get the same supports as someone who comes through the DARE entry route. And as Gerard has mentioned, students register with us 12 months of the calendar year. Absolutely. And if you disclose your disability during any point at all during your studies. So the needs assessment. So what will happen is you'll book an online Teams appointment with a disability advisor, and you'll do a needs assessment. And really what that needs assessment is looking at is your academics that you're going to be studying and the manifestation of your disability. So what we're looking at is the impact of your disability, the previous supports that maybe you got in secondary school or your QQI college, your educational experience. Did you, were you able to use different pieces of technology, or, did you have, if you're a wheelchair user, did you have a personal assistant when you were at the QQI college and things like that? We then talk to you about the demands of the course that you're going to be studying at Maynooth. Is it an arts degree? Is it a science degree? In these uncertain times, will you be coming online, or will there be labs on campus and things like that? We then look at anticipated challenges. So this is a continuous conversation with us, because there's things that you may think now before you start your course on Monday that will be a challenge. But whenever we give you technology training and support, you'll be like, oh, actually my note taking is going really well. I'm using the LiveScribe pen. Or there may be things that you didn't anticipate would be a challenge, and you would come back in and you would have a conversation with us. It's very important for everything that we do in the disability office. There's 3 tenets, and Gerard has touched on a few of them. The first thing is, number 1, you're an independent and capable learner who's come to Maynooth University. Number 2, all of the things that all the supports we put in place for you are about building your capacity to learn those academic skills you need in order to engage with the curriculum. And number 3, as Gerard has mentioned, coffee, because Gerard and I love coffee. We want to make sure that the supports that we put in place for you not only assist you during your degree, but will also assist you into further studies, postgraduate, or into the world of work. And one of the best things for us as disability advisors over the years is to have students inviting us to visit them in London or Sydney or Dublin or New York, wherever they end up going after their Maynooth degree. And that's a really great moment for us. So very much so. Where did the needs assessments go? So we take the information in and then we bring it out, okay? So we have a fabulous library for those of us that, maybe you've been to campus previous to COVID-19. The fabulous library, and there's lots of supports that we can get from the library, such as extended loans. Not all books are extendable. Some would be put up by the lecturer as a 24-hour loan, but the library has a policy around what books are extendable, and we would make that available to you. If you need assistance as well in the library to get books off shelves and things like that, we can get you a library assistant. Technology, this really is the thing that levels the playing field. And I always think to myself, I've been working in disability services longer than I want to think I've been working full stop. And these things were things that I would have dreamt about 15, 20 years ago, but they actually exist now. And they're very, in my mind, James Bondish. They're LiveScribe pens, audio note taker, digital voice recorders, all sorts of apps on your phone to keep yourself organized, to make sure you have reminders about essays that you need to complete. So technology really is that thing that not only assists you with your studies, but also will assist you going into the world of work. Exam supports, as Gerard mentioned there, we have 2 dates that we can't move in the diary. And for the January exams, it's the first Friday in November. So you must have completed your needs assessment, made your application for reasonable accommodations with the disability office by the 6th of November for the January exams to have exam accommodations. For the May and August exams next year, 2021, the deadline is Friday, March 5th. Now, when you get your reasonable accommodations agreed with the disability office, those exam accommodations remain with you for the duration of your studies. So you don't have to reapply for reasonable accommodations in your exams time and time again. Once you have them, they're with you for the duration of your studies. Learning support. So what we have as well too is we have Student Central, which is a service run by assistant psychologists. It's not a psychological service, it's an academic skills service. So what it does is it meets with you and it talks about the different supports, different strategies that you want to develop to be able to manage your time better, do your essays better, get lab reports done in a better way. All of those skills are about building your capacity to work on your independence. And the last thing is the referrals to university supports. So Maynooth University has fabulous mainstream supports, which I'll talk about in a second, and we will refer you on to those as well too from the needs assessment. And here's the supports for students with disabilities. So first of all, the contacts. You have a dedicated disability advisor. So myself, Gerard, and the 3 assistant psychologists. We have Nicole, Kiva, and Aoife. Online chat function. So on the disability page, there's a chat function, and you can put a question in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But on every Monday to Friday during term time from 12 p.m. to 2 p.m., there's someone live on the chat who would be able to speak to you in live time if you had a question about supports or any kind of question like that. And of course, the MAP Academic Advisor. This is a real flagship program that we have at Maynooth University. Every academic department at Maynooth University has a dedicated staff member, a dedicated academic staff member who's a lecturer or involved in the teaching within that department, who is a MAP academic advisor. So there's someone in the department that you could go to if you have specific questions about the content of what you're studying. So biology, if you're studying biology or anthropology or law, every single academic department has a MAP academic advisor, and that's a really fantastic champion for us with disabilities at the university. Learning, I've mentioned Student Central, so students that are autistic spectrum disorder, attention deficit and hyperactivity disorders, students that have mental health conditions, students that have dyspraxia, developmental coordination disorder, and other disabilities will be referred to Student Central for those academic skills that they want to work on with that service. Exam support, I've mentioned the deadlines there, and exam support, when if you've come through the Leaving Cert, you would have applied for reasonable accommodations through the RACE Commission, the Reasonable Accommodation Commission in Education. At Maynooth University, we have a policy, an exams policy, and we will work with you to see what your exams supports would be. Additional tuition. So for some students who have significant ongoing illnesses, sensory or physical disabilities, you may be hospitalized, or maybe some students will be going through treatments, and you may be going through a time of sickness. When that happens, we do have something during term time called additional academic tuition. We will fund in conjunction with the department to get you some additional hours when you were hospitalized or change of treatment, that you weren't able to fully engage with the lecture hours or tutorial hours. And that's something that was coordinated with your disability advisor. Personal assistance, students that are wheelchair users, students with sensory disabilities, mobility aid users, we would have someone that would assist you with personal assistance. Library skills training, really, really important to be able to be a university student in the 21st century, really to be up to date with all about journals and things like that there. And of course, library supports, which I mentioned a moment ago. Technology, and Gerard and I think we could probably do a 4-hour talk about technology and how fantastic and how important it is, but we have the technology transition program, and you would have received emails about that already. So that's the thing, looking at note-taking, time management, organization, reading, referencing, all of these skills you need to be a university student, and how you can use technology to make those things work better for you. For some students, we will refer you for an assistive technology assessment. If you need supports, especially students who have sensory disabilities, we'll have an AT assessment, and we'll look at the different equipment that might be available to you. We do loan out equipment, so I know we've mentioned the LiveScribe pen, which you'll hear about whenever you attend technology transition program. If you are confirmed as being with the disability office, we would then give you a loan of equipment. And of course, on the MAP area in Moodle is our virtual online learning space, which you'll become very familiar with over the coming weeks. And we have an area in there, we pop things in there all the time around technology. And the university has lots of fantastic mainstream supports. There's critical skills. Some of you may decide to do that in first year as some of your modules. Academic advisory assists students to look at what their academic options are going forward. The Math Support Center, the Academic Writing Center, and of course, clubs and societies. Clubs and societies are so important that you really get the most out of your university experience. I just had to think in my head there at the last talk, we're actually into our second year now. We piloted it last year. It's a first day contact. So every single club and society has someone who's identified as a first day contact, and that's someone that can assist students that maybe feel a bit anxious or are trying to figure out how to get into the club and societies. I know the clubs and societies at Maynooth, the student union, are working very hard to make sure that students do get that fun and very inclusive experience through clubs and societies in an online world.
So maybe I'll take over then and
yeah, perfect, sure.
Thank you. The 1916 bursary, and I suppose also mention financial supports in the Maynooth University generally. The reason I'm mentioning financial supports is obviously at the moment it's a very challenging and maybe somewhat uncertain time for very many families out there, and none more so for some of you if you have people starting college. So So it's really important for you to know that there is financial support in the university, and we're in a very lucky position to have a student budgeting advice service that is staffed by a student budgeting advisor who can talk to individual students about their current financial situation, but also recommend students for additional funding through the Student Assistance Fund that's funded through the Higher Education Authority. So really, if you have any financial concerns at all, I would encourage you to make an appointment with Ruth Colleen, the Student Budgeting Advisor, and she can talk to you specifically about your current financial situation, but also make you aware of any additional supports that may be available to you. Now, the next thing I wanted to do was to flag a very important initiative, again, an initiative that was funded by the Higher Education Authority 4 years ago, and that is the 1916 Bursaries Fund. So the Higher Education Authority have decided to fund a national bursary scheme for the students who are most underrepresented in Irish higher education. And really, the purpose behind it is to give people the financial resources they need to succeed in college. So, for example, this bursary really supports members of the traveller community, maybe individuals who were previously in the care of the state, individuals who have very significant caring responsibilities and who as a result are very underrepresented in Irish higher education. And we really encourage you to consider applying if you think you might meet that criteria. You can find out more about the criteria on the Access Programme website, and if you wanted, you could take a screen grab or a photo with a photograph of the 1916 bursary page there for yourself, and you can also ask more about the 1916 bursary on the chat function on the Access Programme website. But important to point out that if you are successful in your 1916 bursary application, you would receive €5,000 for each, €5,000 for each year of your undergraduate studies. So the deadline, it's important to point out, is the 30th of October 2020. So if you want to put in an application, I would suggest you review that application process carefully and gather all of your information, the required information, by the 30th of October. And finally, to mention technology, even though myself and Bridget have mentioned it on multiple times throughout this presentation, we really recommend you attend our technology transition program. Again, you can attend online, so if you just click onto that link on our website, the technology transition program runs on Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and it looks at various key skills for success in university. So it will equip you with the key skills, first of all, in terms of using Office 365, using Microsoft Teams, using Moodle, our online learning environment. There's also a session on note-taking, looking at note-taking apps for success in college. So, for example, using Otter note-taking app, using a LiveScribe pen, really looking at note-taking solutions to help you whether you're studying online or on campus at a later date. And subsequently, there's also a session on organisation and time management. For many of you coming from the second level in particular, getting to grips with your own timetable and really knowing where you are from by hour when you're starting college will be a new experience for you. So having the opportunity to learn what technology solutions you can use to help you organize yourself is a really invaluable skill. So if there's one thing you learn from this afternoon session with Bridget and I, it's to sign up for the technology transition program. I suppose I wanted to thank you. I also want to share a quick video. So I'm going to try and set that video up. And while I'm setting that video up, maybe Fabian will talk to you for a couple of minutes about his experience as a MAP student.
Hey, as Gerard said, I'm Fabian Mackin. I'm going into my 4th year of law in the university. And the main point I want to get across to you all is that you should really engage with the sports that are here, because my biggest flaw when I first came into college was thinking, well, I was just too stubborn to ask for help. And that's probably the worst thing you could possibly do, because there's always a solution there for you, and there's always the support there if you need it. It's just you have to go and look for it. And I'm quite a stubborn person, so sometimes I find myself like gravitating towards getting the work done myself, or like even though I'm struggling, I'll keep on struggling, and I'm like, oh, I've got to get it done myself before I look for help. So I'm like, what if this issue is too small, or if it's deemed insignificant, or Gerard's a busy man because he's my disability advisor, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to be bothering him with my issues. But there's never anything too small. Like, even if it's just one question that you want asked, or something that you're unsure of, if you go to the office, they will always welcome you with a smile, and never mind what it is, they'll be there for you. And I think basically every single problem I've had in university was solved that I couldn't solve myself, was solved by like the Access office. And sometimes I'm like, oh, nah, I've hit a brick wall. I know the Access office has helped me before, but this time they just can't come up with a solution. I'm in the office for about what, 5-10 minutes, and it's solved. I'm like, I really could have done this a month ago and saved myself so much stress and hassle, but I was too stubborn. So definitely just engage with the supports, get assessed, and see what supports that can be made available to you. And it'll probably be the best decision you make while in university. Like some of the supports I receive, I get the scholarship for students with disabilities, which is so handy because my family have financial difficulties, and I didn't realize that. I felt like, oh, so I have idiopathic hypersomnia, which is a neurological disorder, and I was like, oh, because it's an invisible disorder, I wouldn't be deemed important enough to receive any help. I'd be like, there's so many other people that are worse off than me, but it's all relative to the person. Like your struggle is just as important as someone else's struggle. Like it's all relative to you. And like that scholarship has helped me so much. And as Gerard mentioned earlier on, Ruth Killeen, the student budgeting advisor, is an absolute saint as well. Like she can just make things appear. Like you're like, again, I was stubborn. I was like, oh, I'll struggle on through. I'm not just going to get money for nothing, but like these people are here for a reason. And then the help they offer is just amazing. And then I also get a lot of exam supports. And because of my condition, I have very low energy and I can get tired quite easily. And because of this, I'm given my own venue for exams. I get extra time, an extra 10 minutes per hour. And also sometimes I can fall asleep. So I actually get a rest rate. And I just didn't think things like this could be possible. And like even in school, where I only had a couple of hundred people, like in the entire school, whereas there's thousands of people in university, I was like, oh, like in school, I couldn't get anyone to look at me. I was like, there's other people that need to be looked after, or it just doesn't matter. Whereas in Maynooth, where there's thousands of people, there's always someone there to listen to you and help you out, which I just find insane because there's so many people, but yet there's always a person like Gerard or Bridget that's there to help you out when you need it. And then I also, if you struggle with anxiety or you get nervous around exam time, or maybe you just aren't feeling yourself and you don't know why, like that's happened to me sometimes where my motivation is just like, I love university's favorite time of my life, the last 4 years or 3 years, I suppose. But there's sometimes I'm just like, I just don't feel myself. And then I go into Gerard and he's like, why don't you talk to this person? I'm like, it's not really for me. I don't see how that would help. And he's like, just give it a shot. And then you go in, and same as when you talk to Gerard, Bridget, just everything that was wrong with you, just like that. Like it's a process, and it's a helpful process that's there for a reason yet again. And also I get the Live Scribe pen, which was mentioned earlier on with the technology support. It's so cool. Like it records the lectures and has like this special paper, which I didn't even know existed. So if you're writing down what a lecturer is saying and they mention a certain word or phrase, you can tap on that word or phrase on the piece of paper with the special pen. And then on your laptop, it starts the recording from that word, from when it was said, because it recognizes like I don't even know how it works, but it's pretty cool. Like, and then a bit of a more unofficial support is the Access Society, which this is probably my second biggest regret, was I didn't get involved with the society in my first year. And I was like, I wouldn't have much in common with these people, or I wouldn't know what would be involved in the society. But in my second year, I began talking to the odd person that was like attending the meetings and stuff, and the fun events that we do have, and they invite me along. and it was absolutely brilliant. And I met so many friends and like people that I never would have met otherwise. And there's such a solid framework and a support system there for anybody that needs it. And like I'm on the committee now this year, I'm the access liaison, which is like the person that communicates between the society and the office. So if we ever like need someone like Gerard or Bridget to come in and give a talk, I'd be more than welcome to try and ask them to come along, and I'm sure they'd be more than happy to do so. But also, I've definitely made lifelong friends that I really wish I got involved sooner, or I could have missed out. Like, and like it's just a brilliant thing. Like we have a movie night on tonight. We're happy for anybody to come along that wishes to do so. And the last thing I'm going to say about society is there's always going to be a person there, as well as in the office, that will be there to help you out if you're having any queries or just want someone to talk to, or feeling a bit lonely. Like we're always around and looking for people to talk to ourselves. So come along and enjoy your time here. Thank you.
Super. Thanks so much, Fabian. I think that's a really good insight into the student experience that hopefully will reassure you as you're starting out here in the university. So Bridget, I might play the video first because that might answer.
And then you might answer some questions, but if anyone has any questions, if you put it into the chat, we can start answering them afterwards. I see there's just one question there so far. So if while the video's playing, it will answer some of your questions, but don't be afraid to put something into the chat. So we'll talk to you after the video.
Will you just let me know that you can hear it as well?
No problem at all. Yep, I can hear it, Gerard.
Congratulations on accepting your place at Maynooth University. This is a wonderful achievement, and you are about to take the next step on a very exciting and rewarding academic journey. As a student with a disability, you can apply for reasonable accommodations with the Disability Office. You will be allocated a disability advisor who will coordinate a range of supports to help you reach your full potential while studying at Maynooth University. In order to be allocated to an advisor and avail of these supports, you should complete the following steps. Step 1. Complete the online application form. The online Disability Office application form on the Maynooth University Access Programme website should be completed as soon as possible. If you have not already provided your Evidence of Disability form through DARE, the Disability Access Route to Education, please upload this documentation to this online form. This is to provide verification of your disability, which can either be an Evidence of Disability form or a medical report from a recognised consultant. As part of the online registration form, you give us consent to share relevant information with appropriate departments for the coordination of your disability supports. Step 2. Book your online needs assessment using our online booking system. This is a simple process. Just select a time that suits you and enter your name and email address in the booking link. You will receive a confirmation email once your needs assessment is booked. Step 3. Attend your online needs assessment. To meet your advisor for your needs assessment, just click on the Teams link in your email at the time of your appointment. It is recommended that you find a quiet space prior to this meeting. The needs assessment is a conversation with your disability advisor that will determine suitable academic supports to assist you with your studies. These supports include examination accommodations, assistive technology support, and academic learning support. It is important to note that advisors may be working remotely, in some cases from home. If any unforeseen interruptions occur, your appointment can be rescheduled. We encourage students to think about what their support requirements might be in advance of the needs assessment. Your parents or supporters are welcome to attend your needs assessment if you wish. However, as a university student, you are expected to take responsibility for your academic work and engaging with disability supports. The Disability Office will communicate with you directly about your academic supports. The support provided by the Disability Office is confidential. The only time we will break our confidentiality arrangement with you is if we have an immediate concern for your safety or the safety of others. In this case, we may need to contact your next of kin or other appropriate services. Your personal data and documentation provided to the Disability Office is stored securely in accordance with the university's data protection policy. Once you have completed your needs assessment, you will be provided with reasonable accommodations by the Disability Office. We encourage you to meet your disability advisor at any time throughout the year if you have any questions or additional requirements you would like to discuss. That's everything you need to know about applying for accommodations with the Disability Office. We look forward to seeing you during your needs assessment.
Okay, there.
And over to
Okay,
you
so
for the
I'll take the questions here. There's only 2 at the moment, so we have a few more minutes. So if people think of questions after watching that video, we can add that in as well too. So we had a question there from a mature applicant who didn't apply through DARE. So yeah, so if you are, DARE is for students who are using leaving cert. So these are school leavers. So you would come through the mature entry route. And you can, I hope you saw from our presentation and you're comfortable now, you can apply to the Disability Office for reasonable accommodations, okay? So if you haven't received any communication from the Disability Office yet, then you can email disability.office@mu.ie and we'll take a look at that on Monday. Just let us know that you were at Launchpad today and that you want to see where your application is. We've gotten hundreds of people filling in the online form for the Disability Office, so we're working our way down through it. Okay, so we're making our way down through. But if you just want to email the office, and we'll take a look at it on Monday, and we'll communicate with you. So we will. The next question was someone asked, what way will technology assistance work now that no one's on campus and online at the moment? This person is already registered with the Disability Office, but I'm worried about how I'll get assistance with technology. So really, this is something that we've been working on over the last few weeks as things have been changing. And it's my understanding, and Gerard, I'll let you, if you have further information to what I have, it's my understanding that we will be contacting students about being issued LiveScribe pens as soon as we have that process worked out. And for students that maybe have a sensory disability, in particular our students with a low or no vision, we will be in touch with you as well too about the different technology pieces and how we will safely get that to you. So just hold on for the moment, but we're working our way through that process. Is that correct, Gerard?
Yeah, that's correct. And I suppose one other thing to mention related to that is that the government have also issued a laptop loan scheme that provided the university with some funding towards a laptop loan scheme. So if that is something that if you don't have a laptop and you need one, you might wish to avail of support through the laptop loan scheme, and just keep an eye on the website because more information on that will come available in the next week or so.
And I have another question here. Do you email the office to make an appointment with the Disability Office? No, what we want you to do is to go to that online form, okay, that was talked about in the video. And what we want you to do is to complete the online form. And if you need to upload evidence of disability documentation, you can do that through that form. And then we will be in touch with you and link you in with a disability advisor. Okay, so if you've already filled in that online form, and you've uploaded your documentation, we're working our way through it and we'll be in touch with you as soon as we can. If you haven't filled that online form yet, please do so. You'll find it on our webpage, the Disability Office webpage at Maynooth, how to register, and it's the online form for the Disability Office to apply for reasonable accommodations. So please do that, and make sure if you've come through DARE, I mentioned this in the last talk and I'll mention this again. If you came through DARE and it's an entry 2020, we will be able to get your documentation from the CAO. If you are DARE entry 2019 and you either deferred your year or you decided to use your DARE eligibility for the 1 year and you've reapplied through the CAO, please get your DARE documentation to us. Because of GDPR, we're unable to get anything. We can only get the entry 2020 documentation, but we can have a chat with you about that as well too. I think the most important thing, Fabian's fantastic talk about his experience. Make sure that you engage in the support. It's very different from if you're coming from secondary school or in particular, you need to make sure that you take responsibility for your learning and engaging with us. But the really big thing is email. So up to this date, we would have been using the email address you used for your CAO application. But now that you're a registered Maynooth University student, you now have a MU Mail email address, and that is how we'll be communicating with you going forward. Okay, so please make sure that you start to, you really need to treat that email address as if you were working, and that's your work one. Sorry, there's another question that's come in. Do you have to provide any documentation if you already gave the documentation to the CAO? It depends. If you have that documentation handy, we'd ask that you would upload it to the online piece. If you don't have it handy and you send it to the CAO, we'll see what we can do, but there could be a delay in getting your application through with the Disability Office. But those kind of questions, because of COVID, there's just been a bit of delay on things. I think I'm up to date now on all the questions. Okay, Gerard. Fabian published that previously. I know there's a lot of people with timetables and different questions that aren't Disability Office questions. The university has set up a student help desk, and the email address is studenthelp@mu.ie. So please be sure that you contact them about timetables and all those sorts of questions. Anything that's related to the Disability Office, obviously contact us, but for those more general student questions, you can contact the student help desk. Oh, there's another question that's popped in. Let me just check it real quick. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And we really look forward to meeting you in your online meetings with us for your needs assessment and getting things up and running. So we do. And this has just been a great day for us. Gerard, I'll hand over to you to close it if you want to.
Sure. So I suppose just to say thanks so much for coming along today and for listening to Bridget and I. We really do look forward to working with you. It's going to be a really interesting year. We are here to support you. We would really encourage you to engage with us. If we know about a problem, we will work with you to identify what the solution might be, or to identify who we should put you in contact with to identify your own solution and work towards that. But we need to know about what the issue is so that we can support you. So I suppose the big thing is to engage with us and tell us what's going on, and then we can support you. But you're very, very welcome to Maynooth University. Thanks for coming along today. We really do appreciate it, and we'll talk to you very, very soon. Take care.